先请田庄庄居士再来请法现在开始。
恭请大德僧听，为此法会，及一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死离苦得乐，速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and the birth and death and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye lahudi samyao samputoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye allahadi samyao samputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿觉如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 好的，好，田当中，我们就接受。就开始讲经。Appreciate the Dharma request. We'll begin our sutra lecture. In order to do that, the next thing we'd like to do would be to make a joyful noise here, and there we are. Invoke spiritual presence. Invite the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to draw near. 我们接下来，我们就迎请华严海会佛菩萨、天龙八部护法上身，就接近我们的道场，各位的道场，就加倍放光明。 And we'd like to acknowledge that the Pomo people practiced spiritual connections to the earth and all creation here on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. That's in the Ukiah Valley. Today we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说我们恭敬地承认 Pomo 人是我们寺院所在地的传统支持者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000劫内，佛法扬万亿国中，共献其法界和平，利益报贪厚德。That's what they say. All right, here we go. Give extra points to anybody who recognizes where we are. That would be remarkable. I'll give you a clue. This is Yunjushan Zhenru in Jiangxi province. This is where Master Empty Cloud concluded his 120-year life here. So I think that's very interesting. 这是云居山真如寺，刚刚在那里过了几天了虚云老和尚在那里就120日高龄结束在那里。Okay, so here we go. Now, let me give an introduction again. We're in the same passage. The same set of teachings that we were the last 2 weeks, actually. And it's because it's a long section, and I think it's remarkable, and it's a lesson for people who think that Buddhism is all suffering all the time. The Bodhisattva here in the 8th transference has cultivated merit and virtue, and now he or she is in the process of dedicating that merit out, and there are 31 particular wishes in this sequence, and they all contain the word 可爱要, and in Chinese it's right here, 可爱要, and it's also the word le, certain pronunciations. There it is right there. And in English it means lovable, or even adorable, or even delightful, or pleasant, or happy-making. It means all of those things. And that's not necessarily a modifier that you'd expect to find in a Dharma teaching, and yet there it is, 31 times over and over again. So one thing to conclude from that is, don't assume that we know what the Dharma is all about, or that somehow we've got a handle on it, or completely contained it. Certainly not. This is all about being happy, all about enjoyment. And I think that's such a lesson for folks who tend to treat Buddhism as kind of a pool for their neuroses, or somehow is all about stiff upper lip and bitterness. So that's, I think, fascinating. We're about halfway through these various vows, about the wishes, and I have a new thesis about Buddhism and technology, particularly AI, that I'm going to restate, see if I can't say it one more time in a way that makes sense to folks, because I think it's significant. So that's coming up. Then we've got some amazing episodes from Master Empty Clouds, from Master Xuanzang's pilgrimage to India and back. That'll conclude today. 就说我们在第八回向菩萨，第八回向的菩萨，他呢就做了很多功德，现在发回向愿，这个31个回向愿，每一个愿都有这3个字可爱要，那个要字有的时候念乐啊，就乐也是乐，音乐的乐，在这里呢爱要可爱要。就是说非常欢喜，非常开心，非常可爱，非常就属于娱乐一种感觉。有的人认为，哎呀，佛教就是苦辛苦就要就说越苦越好。那当然，你是摩诃迦摄尊者，他是13陀陀行。就每一个都第一，所有佛陀的弟子当中，他是修苦行第一。不过呢，他是身体很强壮的一个人，非常有体力，又高又大，他可以的。对他来讲，他就吃苦就快乐。那么佛教呢，你们这弥勒菩萨是欢喜佛，是不是？对的佛教呢和乎中道，又要吃苦，没有错就说如果能让我们的心就忍得住，就这样子呢，就人人所不能忍，让人所不能让的，那就可以了，那是有一部分。不过你100%就是苦啊，那你就怎么会解释可爱要心31个回向愿，希望众生就这样子？哇我知道会有人就说，哎，菩萨能自己吃苦不是快乐那就对了，可以的，众生受爱乐。不过呢，你说从我的苦心能给你快乐吗？你自己不认乐呢，不会不是乐所以这个是我觉得佛法就是常常住在欢喜心就说上人曾经说过不可一日无喜心不可一日无喜神，他说。So somebody is going to say, I bet somebody's going to say, hey, I know the Bodhisattva herself is able to literally eat bitterness so that he can bestow joy on others. Okay, there is that principle. But I don't think people are going to accept happiness from someone whose mind is very bitter. That's not the way it works. There is true joy in the cultivation of the Dharma because you realize that you're leaving not only suffering behind, you're leaving joy behind. In the dhyanas, you're already beyond happiness and joy. So there is that. You could argue that way. However, Shifu has told us in the past, he said, cultivators of the way cannot be without the spirit of happiness for even a single day. Otherwise, what happens? People quit. That's what happens, is we just don't cultivate anymore. Okay, let's see who's here. There's over 113 of us here at the moment. Our co-host is in City of 10,000 Buddhas and also in Henan. Our Dharma requester today, Ten Transferences, was in Xuchang in Henan. Let's see here. Cheng Wei Hua's in City of 10,000 Buddhas, Alex in Vancouver, An Li is in San Jose, Barbara and Ernie are here, Binxin's in Shanghai. Bob and Fran are here. At least Bob has showed up there. Glad you're here with us. Celeste is here from Hong Kong. Lin Changqing is in Newbury Park. Miss Liao is in Fremont. Chung Hee is somewhere in their iPhone. Guo Zhonghee is in LA. Cliff is in the Gold Coast. Oh, even on a day off, he listens to the Dharma. How about that? Devotion. Connie is in Sunnyvale. Guoji, Guokuk are in Bordeaux, France. Cynthia is here with us in Saratoga. Daisy from Calgary. Donna is here as well. Duke Leban from Montreal. Edna from Singapore. Edward's got his iPad here. Edwin from Malaysia. Elaine's in Ukiah. Sky is in Calgary. Okay, let's see here. Mr. Guo is here from Liaoning. Chaoyang, sure. Okay, Fanny's in Seattle. Florence is in Ukiah. Grace in Cupertino. Hung Chan is at HQ. Guo Hong is in Alameda. Huali is here. Hi there, Huali. Won't make it tomorrow because I'm going to go in. I'll tell you about it. So let's see. Jan is in Columbia City, Oregon. Jane in Berkeley. Jason in Northern California. Jenny's in Seattle. Joe is here. Who else? Okay, Liang Huijun in Beijing. Lim Kim Fong is here. Linda and Liz in New York City. Linda's in San Francisco. Maggie and Billy and Jackson and Ming Chi. Okay, oh my goodness. Having a Dharma party. I'm sure you're having fun. Maya's in the Bay Area. Michelle's in Calgary. Ron in San Jose. Sang Fu is here from Elk Grove. Stacy in San Bruno. Swilan's in Malaysia. Sylvia in Seattle. Terry is here from Ukiah. Excellent. Tina from Oklahoma. Let's see here. Tam is from Oakland. Let's see here. Wei Wen from Mission Viejo. Okay. Viet DRBA. I'm not sure who's behind that one, but good friends. Willie is here from Virginia. Xiu from San Diego. Yihuan's from Ukiah. The gang is all here. Okay. Ding Yuqing in Vancouver. Yvonne from Malaysia. John from Santa Barbara. 然后呢，我们就从亚洲这里，就朋友就在新加坡，还有哪里？河南开封，还有北京，还有上海、哈尔滨、北京、杭州两位，辽宁、安徽、深圳、辽宁、北京、温哥华、河南，那不是湖南，从湖南欢迎黑龙江、浙江、蓝海，黑龙江、苏州、安徽、新北市欢迎，山西宝鸡，黑龙江、泉州、安徽，淮南市 ，OK， 哈尔滨、黑龙江、吉林、北京、唐山、河北、北京、温哥华，很多温哥华，加拿大可能大家喜欢听法就是深圳、哈尔滨、广西，海南，海南岛、西雅图、北京，鸡西、黑龙江、哈尔滨、吉隆坡、广东、深圳、上海、黑龙江、台北和上海。Good， 各位欢迎，非常高兴大家来。Okay, so let's take a look and see. Let's investigate. What is this all about? This Ke Ai Yao. Oh, and I want to make a point that some of you know, right outside from where I am sitting at this moment, just over there, is a long porch. It's a roofed over porch with lots of bushes, and I am at about 14 feet in the air because it's a hillside and the pilings go down. So the hill slopes down. So when I step out my door, I'm already 14 feet up. I'm at mid-tree level. So birds come here and they fly directly in and feed here. And I get to watch the behavior of, I think at this point, 8 different species of birds. They're called standard backyard birds here in Australia. And all kinds of behavior, from parents training young birds how to be birds, from elder birds teaching young birds respect, from husband and wife behavior. The husband supports the wife. It's amazing to watch. From pecking order in a group of birds, you can tell very quickly who's got seniority. Watching bird groups behave with each other, different kinds of parrots, interacting with turkeys, interacting with pigeons, interacting with magpies, and then kookaburras show up and currawongs. And so watching all these different birds behave, and they haven't met many humans because of the population density is relatively thin in Australia. So they're behaving much the way birds behave. And the amazing thing is watching birds be happy among themselves. And of course, sometimes very unhappy, but often they are happy. And watching them play, just enjoying what they do and taking opportunities to be alive and joyful in their environment. And there's no doubt that that's what they're doing. They're just goofing off sometimes and enjoying hanging upside down and playing with each other when they're hanging upside down and swinging from branch to branch. So great fun. So when we talk about 可爱要, enjoyable, delightful, happy-making, pleasant, this experience is fundamental to being alive in a body sometimes. And it is not limited to humans, certainly. Okay, people are saying my voice is too low. You don't think so? I can see what I can do. Let's go to the audio settings. I can make it bigger. Input volume. There we go. That should help a little bit. Okay, a little bit louder, I hope. Okay, I can also turn up. That's okay, that's pretty much max volume. Okay. Tell me if that's a little better, I hope. Anybody else feel that my voice is too soft here? I can sit up closer if I need to. Okay, so 我就说我住的地方这里很多鸟类，小鸟就飞过来，我喂它们有大约八九种不同的鸟，大的小的，有老的，有少的，有公的，有母的，有年纪大的，有年轻的，还有不同类的。我因为我住在山半腰，所以他们飞过来就很自然的样子，他们不太注意我，所以我观察这些鸟的行为，他们的活动，他们也会快乐，看得出来。有的时候鸟就玩，他们会玩一玩，就会看得到，他们就是为的，因为在这个身体里边可以倒过来，从一个树枝子上掉过来，就然后不是他们不会笑，可是明明知道了，他们就是为了玩，没有旁的原因，他们这样说或者那样说了，所以可爱要这种的感受，这种情感不是是应该说是普遍的一种感受，这个不是单单人会，所以我们知道菩萨他心里要创造，他要造出一种可爱要的感应，那我们就可以明白我们自己是怎么一回事，可爱要。So one of the ways to look at this is to say, if the bodhisattva is busily creating things that are adorable so that beings can enjoy them, possibly we can learn more about this experience of being delightful. Okay, shall we just jump in and see how it goes? Here we are. Here's number 1 today. Make it bigger. We ready? 愿一切众生得诸菩萨及可爱要深深三昧。 may all beings attain bodhisattvas, a most delightful, profound, there it is. May all living beings attain bodhisattvas' most delightful, profound samadhis. There you go. Samadhi is truly delightful. My goodness. There are, as we know, famous samadhis with names, like the Shurangama Samadhi. There's the Vairochana Samadhi. There's the Ocean Imprint Samadhi. There's the Avatamsaka Samadhi. There's the Dharma Realm Samadhi. Those are, what would it be like? It's like if a musician is able to sing high C. So let's suppose a musician can actually have a, I won't do it, I will. Since it's here, why not? I've got an example of high C right here. Want to hear it? Now I have a tin whistle, which is a help. But here we go. Here's, make sure I've got my, okay, here we are. That's a high C. That's a C scale. How, if someone can hit that note with their voice without a whistle, then that is repeatable and verifiable. That's absolutely a high C. It's not a D, it's not a B, it's not a flat, it's not a sharp. It's perfect, pure high C. Someone who can do that, that's a known quantity. Being able to enter samadhi is the same kind of self-mastery, same kind of ability to manipulate physical states to get to something repeatable and verifiable. That's what samadhis are. And from, the point is, when you can do that with your body, your mind, and your spirit, it's really beneficial to your mind, to the human existence, the human experience. From that comes specific insights. In order to get to that state, you have to have put a lot of things aside. You have to have made some decisions about what you do with your time and the desires that arise. And you have to be able to prioritize cultivation and regulate sensations in your body so that you do it according to the Dharma. Now, I want to add one more point here. Somebody, what was it the other day? Somebody was talking about samadhi, and they mentioned cats outside mouse holes. Anybody who's ever seen a cat stalk know how they can just become motionless, waiting, and their focus is entirely on waiting, what do you say, a blood lust for killing or catching and leading to killing of small rodents. Snakes. In America, we don't get to watch pythons. Pythons can become immobile and waiting outside a mouse track. And then as soon as the mouse arrives, the python launches faster than the eye can follow. Snakes strike fast. Cats, interestingly, are faster. There's ample evidence of cats and snakes fighting, and the cat pretty much always wins because the snake strikes, but the cat avoids. Anyway, those are considered. When somebody brought that up, I said that's actually what you call a deviant samadhi. It's not from the point of view of the cat. From the point of view of the cat, it's called hunting, but from the Dharma, there's proper, meaning designed to get you to wisdom, arising out of precepts, and then there's crooked or improper, which is stillness designed to fool the poor prey into thinking you're not really there when in fact you're just poised waiting to kill. So yeah, so the Ku'ayao, the delightful, profound samadhis are, if you had to say why are they Ku'ayao, because they lead to liberation. They lead to wisdom and liberation from suffering. So those are famous samadhis. The samadhis that don't have famous titles are like the dhyanas, which are first, second, third, and fourth. And they also have names, and they are delightful, no doubt. There's sensations that arise from first, second, third dhyanas that are, by report, people tell me, that they are just pleasant beyond any other measure of pleasure. 就说三昧可爱要一定的可爱要深深的三昧，这个我们就从这个就从禅定来算啊，从禅定来讲就说就是三昧就在这儿，那个是就有人说那个初禅、二禅、三禅、四禅非常非常快乐，很舒服，很舒服，甚至于比不了，没办法比这种的快乐，比任何其他的身体可以感受的快乐更快乐。离生喜乐地，定生喜乐地，离喜妙乐地，舍念清净地，就是从那个名字你知道就是快乐。还有这个佛教，我们汉传佛教有更规模更大的一些三昧，好比说呢，就是毗卢遮那三昧，还有华严三昧，还有楞严三昧，还有就说那个就说心印、海印三昧那种的大定，那当然是不同。那个你说可爱要吗？一定的什么苦都没有了。这个是把我们身体，就说血肉，还有骨头，还有我们的心的念头，还有我们这个灵性呢，就把它归纳于一种境界。刚刚吹了一个调子，那就说 C 那个音乐，如果你能唱出可靠的一个 C note， 不用一个笛子，你自己就会唱，那就是因为你会用应该说身体的物理学，就唱出那个声音，哇，那个是可靠的，不是 D 也不是 B， 是 C 调，这个是因为你有这种本事，能入定也是，你能用法正法就持戒清净，就清修戒定慧，没有贪嗔痴，你能在一段时间训练修行自己的身体，一直到这个不动于衷呢，那就是正定出来了。那个小猫，它在老鼠的洞外边，或者呢，我们这里澳大利亚有的人知道，这个澳大利亚有大蛇、盲蛇，那个盲蛇就等在老鼠的洞外边，好像睡觉， 一点都不动，然后老鼠出来了，那条蛇动的比什么都快。其实，话说回来，小猫比蛇更快。看过这些 YouTube video，就是小猫如果它真的想惩罚一条蛇或者吃那条蛇杀它都那个蛇再快就打了，那个小猫就比那个蛇更快，就会抓那个蛇。所以你如果比较起来，小猫比蛇快动作可是呢，小猫快得不得了，那个老鼠没希望。所以那个叫什么？血定，不是正定。那个一条蛇在那个老鼠的跑道，就在那等着，老鼠过来了，就这样子。那种定不算我们所讲的可爱要三昧，如法去修定，哎呦，那种快乐。而且上人都常常说，人人都会，就不是说哇才有老修行才能知道这个初定这个初禅、二禅、三禅、四禅，谁都可以的。不过你都要把时间放在修行，不去娱乐另外其他的娱乐。不会天天看电视天天吃冰淇淋不是说不看电视不吃冰淇淋，不是这个话。不过呢少能不动于众呢，那就有机会入定，那你就知道什么叫可爱要深深三昧。 Next one, hey, here we go. 愿一切众生得诸菩萨深可爱要陀罗尼门。May all beings attain the Bodhisattva's most delightful Dharani practices. Dharani practices, we know about the Shurangama mantra, that's a Dharani. We know about the Great Compassion mantra, also known as the Great Compassion Dharani. Dharani is an ability to register vibration in sound. So Dharani has to do with ears and attainment of a way of creating vibrations through manipulating sound and also hearing sounds. As I have mentioned before, anybody who has a copy of the Ten Practices chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra, go look at the 9th practice. And oh my goodness, the things that the human can do at that stage of Bodhisattva practice is truly, truly mind-blowing. There's nothing that I know to compare to the Bodhisattva's ability to hear questions and doubts and challenges posed to him or her by living beings all at once in a huge number, from a huge number of miles. The Bodhisattva says, in this Dharani, with this skill, can absorb all of the questions, differentiate them skillfully, and then respond in a way that living beings each hear the answer and are pleased and satisfied. Say it's just, that's the ability of Dharani. And again, without doubt, this is not a Marvel Comics superhero. This is a human who has cultivated his or her mind to the state of Dharani. Here is just one of the true wonders of the Mahayana Buddha Dharma. I don't hear Theravada bhikkhus talking about this ability, and I don't know enough about Tibetan practice to know whether Dharani is featured in the teachings of the Gelugs or other of the schools of Tibetan Buddhism, but certainly it is here in the Mahayana. It's not a secret. It's public. It's available, waiting for somebody to take it up and cultivate it. 这个陀罗尼啊，陀罗尼行，陀罗尼门，陀罗尼叫什么？也是咒，也是真言，也是陀罗尼啊，就是菩萨深可爱要的陀罗尼门。这个陀罗尼我说过了啊，那个你如果想知道多一点，你就找这个《华严经十横品的第九横。第九横呢就讲陀罗尼。这个陀罗尼门呢，人有这种的功夫，甚至于不可思议的啊，这个有这种的能力的菩萨啊，第九横的菩萨啊，何况这个第八回向的菩萨更有这种能力。就说菩萨回向，愿一切众生都得到这个能力。就说有这个陀罗尼门的功夫，无论多少众生有怀疑，他们心里有怀疑，他们一起用不同的口一起问菩萨很多故意问难的一些不容易答复的问题，很多怀疑。菩萨呢，在一念心就可以接受、容纳、分清楚、答复所有这些众生，甚至于众生满意，就解他们的怀疑了，就说答复他们起的问题了，就一清一楚，然后菩萨就用一个声音就能这样做。你说这好像是卡通片的什么机器人或者什么超人呢？不是，这个是人，我们你我他人就把我们的心修到这种程度，这是汉传佛教大乘菩萨的功夫啊。南传藏传有没有讲陀罗尼门呢？我陀罗尼功夫我没听过啊，所以呢，这个是真的很奇妙一种菩萨的能力。当然，你有这种的功夫，然后你来度众生是很容易。Now, if you have the ability of Dharani, this is not for being strange. It's not for the purpose of showing off. Or being an unusual sound engineer, throat singer, Tuvan throat singer. No, it's for the purpose of helping people wake up. But if you have this skill, wow, wouldn't that be good? 愿一切众生得诸菩萨深可爱要善观察智。Okay? May all living beings attain Bodhisattva's delightful wisdom, which contemplates skillfully. Okay, the wholesome contemplation, this is智, so it's jnana, it's a kind of knowledge. This is from the Bodhisattva's ability to transform their own consciousness through a practice of precepts, samadhi, and wisdom. So, skillful contemplation. This is again, for the purpose of looking at a living being, somebody who's suffering, and knowing exactly how to untie the knots in their personality so that they can understand their mind, change their ways, give up all of those bad habits, and find their way back home. So it's likewise, all of these gifts of transference from bodhisattvas are healing. They're there to help us wake up. 就说这种let's see, I need to say it in English. Or do I? No, I need to say it in Chinese. 这种善观察智啊，就是菩萨能 把他的这个失心改掉，感化，就成善观察智。这种的能力呢，也是一样的，就说为的令众生离苦得乐，所以才有这种智慧，那么菩萨看到有这种观察智，他注意某某人就有什么问题，有什么矛盾，什么习气恶习惯，他看了一会儿，用这种的观察智，他就知道如何帮助众生从那种打的那个结解开了，就可以自由了，就可以解脱了，所以他也是这个善观察智也是像陀罗尼、像三昧都是菩萨用的度众生的方法。And 愿一切众生能现菩萨深刻爱要自在神通。Okay? May all living beings be able to manifest the Bodhisattva's most delightful spiritual powers of self-mastery. I would translate it differently. I would probably say sovereign spiritual powers, something like that. Delightful, sovereign spiritual powers, not powers of self-mastery. It's the shantong that are being modified. Okay, what are shantong? We know. This is, notice, right from, here we go. From delightful dharmas down to samadhis, dharanis, contemplative insight, and psychic powers. These are all bodhisattva tools. These are the bodhisattva's tools that come in the later phases of our 10. You know how the structure of the Avatamsaka goes? We've got 10 aspects of faith, the 10 dwellings, the 10 practices, the 10 transferences, the 10 grounds, 10 stages. And there's also 10 inexhaustible, inexhaustible treasuries. So things come in 10s, and from usually around 3, from the third of the 10 and on, these higher skills arise. Bodhisattvas become able to wield, to use, to master these amazing diagnostic healing tools. So psychic powers used to be called, when we first learned about these back at Buddhist Lecture Hall, they were called penetrations. A penetration. I got a penetration. Penetration of the heavenly eye. And that's entirely Chinglish. That's just English words on top of Chinese. So heavenly, we don't use heavenly anymore for tian, like tianyan. It's celestial, meaning belonging to the heavens. Heavenly is kind of like adorable. It's like, wow, heavenly. Chock full of nuts is that heavenly coffee. Next line. Better coffee, millionaires, money can't buy, right? Chock full of nuts. Yogi Berra used to sell that. Boy, am I dated. So, okay, we don't say heavenly, we say celestial, or pertaining to the devas, the vision that the devas have. So that's one of the shantong, the penetrations. Okay, what do we say now? So, we say psychic abilities, or spiritual powers that likewise arise from the human mind and body used skillfully according to Dharma. And when they do, people, the bodhisattvas, are able to do things that nobody else can do. Just unbelievable. And things that we do have reference to these abilities, but it's always in a world of superheroes. So Superman can fly, for example. Well, bodhisattvas with the psychic ability, the spiritual power called Shenzutong, the fulfillment of the completed spirit, maybe, or Sanskrit is Urdipada, the psychic feet. They even say like feet on your legs, your 2 feet. Shenzutong. He can fly too. She can fly too. So where else do we have it? Well, people who were alive back in the 60s and 70s and read Carlos Castaneda's The Yaqui Knowledge of Don Juan. People remember Don Juan books? Not the lover Don Juan, but the psychic brujo, medicine man Don Juan. He too could fly, but he was in the body of a crow when he did it. So as the sutras describe the Luohan Shibabian, the 18 transformations of an arhat, they too are able to fly freely in through the air and also down in the water. So mastery over the elements and over your body, that's part of the psychic powers, the spiritual powers of self-mastery. So again, these abilities, and that's just the ability to fly, joins with the other psychic powers, the Deva's eye, the celestial vision, celestial hearing, the Deva's ear, knowledge of others' thoughts, knowledge of past lives, the completed spirit, Shenzutong, and the last one, which is interesting, is the ending of all outflows, and the Lo Jintong. So that one is something that only Buddhas can experience. Mara, the demon kings, can master the first 5. Dragons, they say, have psychic abilities, psychic powers. So these are all part of the lore, L-O-R-E, of advanced cultivation. And they apparently, you have to sort of wish them before you have to set yourself on that track. And Master Hua, who knew what these were about, clearly, said, you want to be very careful in wishing the ability to have these psychic abilities and vowing to attain them, because you can get, for example, psychic powers, but still have the body of an animal, like a dragon. You can have ghosts can have psychic powers, guaitong. So this is these abilities are there in our human experience, but it's not for sure that we want to think they are an end in themselves. As I understand the description, again in the Avatamsaka Sutra, go to the 10 stages, the 10 grounds, and look at number 3, the 3rd stage, and you'll read about a bodhisattva's description of Shantong, psychic abilities. So once you have made vows to help living beings cross over, that's when the psychic abilities manifest to help you accomplish your vows. They're based on compassion, not on having cruel powers. 这个自在神通，这个是菩萨的正法，正通，不是鬼通，也不是这种魔王也可以现神通这个龙也可以现神通，不过呢，那不是菩萨的神通。哪里可以知道菩萨的自在神通在哪儿呢？是在那个十地品 第三谛就会讲菩萨，就如法就现神通。本来有五言六通，这个六通呢，自在神通就是天眼通，天耳通，还有什么呢？他心通，还有宿命通，还有一个叫神足通，然后第六个就是唯有佛其他的就说十法界的众生不能现这个神通，就是漏尽通，跟魔王不同的地方就在那漏尽通。所以这个呢是说，如果龙也可以有一些神通鬼也可以有一些鬼通这个魔王也可以有一些魔通可以看得出来，这种的境界，这种超人的能力是人可以现，就是每个人的身体里边都有这种的种子。可是你怎么样修成了，那就不同了。菩萨的话，因为菩萨发愿度众生，就为舍己为人，为法忘躯，所以自然而然到时候这种能力就出来了那么我们在那个第60、70时代有一个作家叫 Carlos Castaneda， 他呢是一个人类研究生，人类学。他去墨西哥的北部有高山，那里很偏僻的地方，那儿有一些应该说是邪师不知道中文叫什么。他是一个应该是仙人之类这种修行，他会现出无涯的身体，他人的尸心就跑到无涯的身体，可以飞走那个是一种身体神通，不过呢不是正法的神通。所以如果你遇到什么人听说台湾有一些卖房地产，就说他用他的天眼通知道你应该买哪块地就发财，那个要小心，那个不可靠的或者什么股票师傅说他用他的天眼就知道你应该买哪样的股票就可以发财了，那个要小心了那个可能是鬼，可能是魔，也不一定是菩萨所以自在神通就是这个。So in Taiwan, I know there are stories of stock brokers who will tell you that they have psychic powers. They have the Deva eye, and they know exactly which stock to buy to make a lot of money. They say, be careful, don't believe them. You can believe that if they may have some ability, but it's not the bodhisattva's psychic powers. You may be dealing with something that's not human, more likely a ghost. So some realtors will tell you they know exactly which piece of land for you to buy so that you can get rich. Be careful. So this is because how do you prove if the person says, oh, you buy this piece, you get rich, not that piece? Can you disprove it? So, right, be cautious. Okay, what's next? Let's see here. We've got 愿一切众生能与诸佛大众会中深可爱要深深妙法。May all beings be able to expound the most delightful, profound, and wonderful Dharma in Buddha's great assemblies. Yeah. So the Bodhisattva is cultivating and then dedicating merit, giving it to living beings, so that living beings can speak Dharma in Buddha's assemblies. How wonderful that would be. So the Avatamsaka gives us lots and lots of examples of that. And who gets to speak Dharma? Interestingly enough, in the Avatamsaka Sutra, lots of bodhisattvas and even devas are the speakers of some of the Dharma. For example, right now, we have a group translating chapter 5 of the Avatamsaka. We're progressing through the sutra, and the speaker of that particular chapter is Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. And it's so obvious that he is giving us a tour of the what are called world seeds in the flower treasury world system, where the Avatamsaka is situated. And there's layers of worlds, sometimes 21, sometimes 10. And he knows the names of them. He knows where the Buddhas who appear in those worlds, and he he explains. And we go progressively from the bottom up, and then switch to another direction and go from the bottom up. Very systematic, and that's the sutra. Here is Samantabhadra in a Buddha's assembly, giving us a tour of the Dharma realm with names. And just as if you're looking at a map. So, well, that's interesting. You have to, if you're waiting for a plot, if you're waiting for characters, if you're waiting for action, it's not going to satisfy you. But in terms of a living being, in this case, it's Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, who is one of the great Bodhisattva Mahasattvas. But he is there teaching living beings. And there are also devas who are speaking in different parts of the sutra. So wouldn't you like to be a speaker of the Dharma in Buddha's great assemblies? Why not? Imagine. 就说在佛的法会里边，尤其《华严经》里边七处咒会，华严经。不是单单佛陀讲法有的那个四十品里边就有菩萨来讲法，就好像第五品普贤菩萨在那儿告诉我们，好像一个导游，就说左边右边可以看到什么世界，那个世界的名字是什么那个世界里边佛陀的名字是什么？然后呢，再往上边一层，有世界，不同的世界，什么名字？佛陀什么？他就东西南北四位上下10个方向，就给我们解释所以那个不是佛陀，是菩萨菩萨是不是众生？他是众生的朋友已经从众生界毕业了不过可以现众生的身体了。华严经还有天人在那儿讲法，多么开心太好了有神，很多神佛说我现在要讲什么法就有不同方向神王进来了，就赞叹佛，讲偈颂或者唱诵，然后结跏趺供养，然后结跏趺坐等法会开始。所以这个是常常会遇到。There's another actual part in Who Speaks Dharma where the Buddha announces what is the topic, but what he's going to explain. And in the audience, spirits arise. Crop spirits, river spirits, mountain spirits, lake spirits, direction spirits, sun and moon spirits, lunar and solar spirits show up. And they make offerings, they praise the Buddha, they sing a song, they make some poetry, chant it, and then cross their legs and wait for the Dharma. This happens a lot. So how wonderful to be a living being who gets to sing in the Buddha's Dharma assembly. Okay. Let's do two more. Let's get through here. 愿一切众生能以方便开示演说深刻爱要差别之句。May all living beings be able to unfold and expound with skillful expedience the most delightful expressions of with various nuances. With expedience, I guess that's right. I would think it would be expedients. I guess expedience as a quantity. Yeah, okay. So, how nice. Bodhisattva dedicates merit, so living beings can speak really well. The most delightful expressions of various nuances. It's 区别之句. It's different phrases. But for example, how are we doing with the delightful and adorable and lovable and pleasant here? Remember, we had, here it is. Here they are. Adorable, lovable, enjoyable, delightful, pleasing, winsome, pleasant, happy-making. These are all 区别之句. These are all various expressions of various nuances of the Chinese. 可爱要. Is it the happiness and the lovability and the delightfulness happens in your mind? You feel, it makes you feel happy and pleased? Or is it some aspect of the actual object itself that is particularly delightful? And so is it in the perception or in the object itself? Interesting. It's a pleasant reaction to external circumstances, or an internal state, or something in between. We're back right where we started. Delightful expression. So you can say it in a way that people enjoy hearing. That's a real gift. 菩萨会上功德，希望受到这个功德的众生，就可以讲话，就开始演说深刻爱要的区别之句。哇，这种的就说辩才，真的是一种好的礼物啊！愿一切众生常能发起深刻爱要平等大悲。May all beings constantly be able to bring forth the most delightful, non-discriminating great compassion. Yes. Yes. Here you are. Yeah, I was going to show this manifests in, okay, let's see if we can bring, I know. Here we go. Open that. Good, that came right up. Here we go. Now, take a look. Who is this? These are arhats at Foguang Si in Wutaishan, Shanxi province. Look at the races, look at the skin colors, look at the different expressions and backgrounds of all these sages gathered in by the Dharma. 各位注意哈，这个大悲就不分别。这个是山西省五台山的佛光寺的罗汉。罗汉，你看他们皮肤的颜色，你看他们的表情，你看他们的样子，都不同品类、不同来历、不同名字不同阶级的众生，被佛法所摄受，是不是？ So, Buddha Dharma gathered in all these different beings from different social strata, different languages, different continents, all of whom use the Dharma to wake up. right? I am aware that they all look like men. That's true, isn't it? That's probably a result of the context of the society in which these images were produced. But will there be female arhats? Certainly expect there will be if there are females who cultivate. 各位注意，都是男众，看起来超过男女的区别。Another way to say is these beings have gone beyond. They don't look particularly gendered to me, but I think at this point you leave gender behind. Okay, so how interesting, how interesting. Let us move on. I need to see right here. We're going to take a note. There we go. Hold up. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 more vows. We've only done 20. Yeah, this is quite a remarkable, lovable section of the sutra. 我们还有13个愿，就深可爱要的华严经。And Master Shenzang, oh boy, 其后见陀罗果。迦尼斯迦王如来灭后第400年。I want to be sure. Yeah. Okay. Right here. Okay. Here we go. 十众中有大乘学生，辟树陀僧河。还有陈那翻茶，萨婆多学生，萨婆多学的僧人，苏嘎弥多罗，婆苏弥多罗，僧祇不歇僧，苏利耶提婆陈那达罗多，七国先来上学，而此僧等皆道也坚真，才解应付。比方生成岁不及，比诸人足有余。Okay. Among the congregation were 2 Mahayana monks named Sudha Simha and Jinabandhu, 2 Sarvastivadin monks named Sugatamitra and Vasumitra, 2 Mahasangika monks named Suryadeva and Jinatrata. They came to study in the country before the master. They were firm in their faith. They had great talent with full understanding of the Dharma. They weren't as learned as Sangakirti. They were far more learned than the rest of the monks. Okay, we know that there is this Zhanglao. There's this elder here in this country. This is Kashmir. Sangakirti. He's 70 years old. He recognizes Master Shenzang. He really wants to teach him. He praises him and points him out among all the other monks as being the brightest, and says, wow, there's nobody in this country like him, he says. What happens is, because he came along when he did, there were other monks here who had been working hard, studying in that community of Sangha, and here is this newcomer who gets praised by the teacher. Well, what happens when people get praised and they haven't kind of paid their dues? People get jealous. 就说这个长老在哪里？他叫什么？他叫僧称法师，70多岁。他呢在那儿转法轮教学生。这个前来的学生他们为听到他们教授他们的师父的赞叹，当然他们都要听了。然后 oops 来了，从中国来了一个大家不认识的一个法师， 然后这个长老开始赞叹他，说他怎么样好，怎么样好，他们怎么样就嫉妒了，啊，他就说你们这个国家没有谁跟他比的，他比谁都聪明，啊。既见法师为大将褒扬，五不发愤。难见法师以名目仇对，无所检视。有事诸贤以率残夫。On hearing the master praised by the old teacher, they were seized with jealousy, and they deliberately raised difficult questions to challenge him. But Master Xuanzang gave satisfactory answers and didn't hesitate. The scholars were convinced of his great learning. Did he have Dharani ability? Probably did. Doesn't specify, but every opportunity to display his eloquence and his wisdom, people hear it and are subdued. He's got the real stuff. So how interesting that they tried to out-debate him, and they couldn't. He's just pleased everybody. This is real virtue. 就说他们因为有妒忌心了，他们故意问难，就像我们这个陀罗尼功夫在十回向品里边呢，这个他们要故意把它变倒了变倒不了，他比这些前来的法师更聪明，更有辩才，所以所有的问题呢迎刃而解，他们就没办法了，就投降了，合掌叩头这样子。齐国先是龙池，佛涅槃后第50年，阿难弟子末天底迦阿罗汉教化龙王，舍持立500伽蓝，招助贤生一众住持受龙供养。This country was formerly the lake of a dragon, and in the 50th year after the Buddha's nirvana, Arhat Madhyantika, who was the disciple of Ananda, converted the Dragon King and asked him to give up his lake, on the site of which he built 500 monasteries and invited sages and saints to live there on the support of the dragon. Now, we looked at this earlier, but it's worth paying attention to. This is a time and a place where humans and dragons interact. And you just know it's true. This is not unique to China. This is not unique to India, not unique to Europe, where St. George and the Dragon, there are definitely the reality of dragons showing up in folklore and interacting with humans is just universal. So how fascinating that here we have Master Xuanzang collecting all the stories from these places where he goes, and here's a dragon story from India. After the Buddha's nirvana, so this is 400 something BCE, there's an Arhat who asked the Dragon King to give up his lake, and he, in return, will build monasteries, 500 of them, and invite sages and saints. This is the Buddha's time. And they will live here. The dragon will make offerings, and what will happen? The dragon will be able to ascend and leave his dragon body. 你看看印度当时就人跟龙有关系，就可以有来往，互相沟通。不但印度，中国当然都有龙的故事，还有欧洲也有龙的故事。在这个时候，一条龙住在这儿，有佛已经入涅槃，再过50年，有一个罗汉，阿难尊者的弟子就已经正果了，就跟龙讲话，就说如果能舍这个湖的话，我就会造500个道场，很多正果的人都会在这边住，你可以供养他们。龙 听到这个 idea，这个 deal， 他就说好的，我会这样做了。为什么呢？龙都要离开龙法界，他愿意回来做人，然后修行成佛，所以就能舍，不容易的啊。欧洲也有龙的故事，其后见陀罗国迦尼释迦王如来灭后，Odyssey就说无名者 ，OK， 其后 ，right， correct， OK， 迦尼释迦王如来灭后第400年，因邪尊者请助圣众，内穷三藏，外大无名者，得499人，及尊者室友，合500显圣，于此结集三藏。Later, in the 400th year of the Buddha's decease, King Kanishka of Gandhara invited, on the request of the Venerable Parsva, known as Ribs, the Venerable Ribs, a party of 499 saintly monks who were well versed in the Tripitaka and the 5 knowledges, that's to say, secular knowledge, and including Vajramitra, made a total of 500 saintly monks and put the Tripitaka together in this country. So Kashmir is a place where the Tripitaka is collected. What an amazing history. And yet Kashmir is now a country of great division and tension among 3 different groups. So a country can lose its blessings. 就说这个 Kashmir 这个地方非常有佛缘，不过可能一个国家的福报也会尽了就说现在的 Kashmir 这个地方就是紧张3个不同的国家都说是自己的地方，所以常常面临战争。先造10万颂乌波地说论，是速大懒藏，次造10万颂毗那耶毗婆沙论，是毗那耶藏，次造10万颂阿毗达摩毗婆沙论，是阿毗达摩藏，犯30万颂96万言。They first composed the Upadesha Shastra in 100,000 stanzas for the exposition of the sutras, the Vinaya Vipasha Shastra in 100,000 stanzas for the exposition of the Vinaya Pitaka, and also the Abhidharma Vipasha Shastra in 100,000 stanzas for the exposition of the Abhidharma Pitaka. This was a total number of 300,000 stanzas, 960,000 words. All right. Let's see here. 王以赤通威业，漏泄论文，是寒风记，见大速读，波而出其中，命要察神守护，爱意重明，此之利也。如是停留首尾2年，学诸经论，理胜机宜，乃辞出。The king had these treatises written on copper plates and kept them in stone cases. He also built a great stupa to store them and ordered the yakshas to guard them. It was owing to his endeavor that the profound teaching of Buddhism was again made clear to the people. Thus, the master stayed in this country for 2 years to learn the scriptures and commentaries and to visit the holy places. Pretty amazing how if we didn't take time to study this biography, we wouldn't know that Kashmir was a place where Master Empty Cloud, where Master Xuanzang studied for 2 years. 因为我们详细就讲解这些笔记呢，我们才知道这个国家也是玄奘大师住了2年。Yes, indeed. Okay, let us dedicate merit here. I'd like to invite everybody to make a wish. We can transfer the merit, just like the Bodhisattvas in the Sutra. 就像华严经里边的菩萨这样子修这个法门，希望各位都会发自己的回向愿。Okay, here we go. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Appreciate having the Dharma wheel banjo to make those lovely sounds on. Here is the Buddha. Shall we make 3 half bows? Here we go. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. That's going to do it for us for today. We'll see you all next week. Amitofo, everybody. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye now.